Manchester United versus Fulham on Sunday. This is the preview. I'm Dan United, but as always, yes. Hope everyone is well. Sorry, it's a bit later tonight. Mrs. Robinson's mum, the mother-in-law's birthday today. So we're around spreading birthday cheer. But I hope everyone's having a fantastic Friday. It is the end of the week. And my God, it has been a long week. And it's going to continue to be a long week for Manchester United fans, mainly due to the fact that Xerxes now staying, Agate's not going, which means we ain't getting anybody in. There is the secret midfield signing that is going around the internet, which to me is probably going to be someone like Ndidi. It has not been a great week for Manchester United. It has not been a great week to get excited. Yes, we have had the Manchester United win over Arsenal, and you would have thought that maybe Ineos might have looked and gone, do you know something? Let's keep them whilst they're feeling happy. Let's inject a bit more happiness into there. But do you know what they did? They said, nah, let's leave it. The squad's fine. It's fine. We can carry on. We'll spend loads of money in the summer. They're thick. They're stupid. They won't say a word. I've got stuff all over my thing there. But that's just the way it is. So look, we can sit here. We can be angry at the world. We can sit and moan about it. Or we just don't have to do, I think, what we need to do, which is just get on with it. It isn't what we want to hear. We wanted signings. We wanted the players. It's just not going to happen. If it is Ndidi, I can honestly sit here and tell you now, I don't get excited for signings like that. I will not get excited for Wilfred Ndidi. This is the guy who was relegated with Leicester. If that's the level of player that we're looking to bring into the midfield for Manchester United for the remainder of what is a Champions League attempt to get into, then I ain't getting excited about that. It is literally like going to the library. It's ridiculous. So anyway, look, we'll go through the presser, we'll go through the comments, and make sure you smash the like, people, and make sure you are subscribing if you are new. A lot of people have been doing fantastic in helping with that, and I couldn't thank you all enough. Now, what we normally do is we go through the team. We'll go through what the team was last week. There are going to be changes. There are, folks. It's as simple as that. Dorgu is injured. We find ourselves in a situation, I feel like, on Sunday where we just don't know what that front three is going to be. It could be anything. So, yeah, I'm feeling... am I feeling hyped? Am I feeling pumped? Am I feeling excited? Yeah, I am. Of course, it's Manchester United. There's a big game this weekend between Liverpool and Newcastle, which, again, will either help... Look, a win on Sunday... That result, regardless of what it is going to help us, because we're either going to pull further away from Newcastle or further away from Liverpool. Or if they drop a doozy and draw, then it will be further away from both of them. So we've got plenty of stuff. We've got plenty of stuff to be excited for. But I would be lying if I didn't say to you that this week I have been scrolling on Transfer Centre. I've been scrolling on X. I have been scrolling on BBC Bloody News just to see in some hope that we're signing players. Isaac's in the house. I'll say hello to everybody in a minute. Look, other clubs are signing. Other clubs are making signings. We had a chat a few weeks ago where we said, look, could we get by for the rest of the season? And at that point, yeah, I think my answer was yes. But it's the injury to Dorgu that terrifies me. It's the injury to Dorgu that makes me sit there and go, hang on a second, we're probably one more injury away here from it potentially looking a lot harder than it should be. Look, you go out there and you bring better players in. You bring players in to make the squad better. You don't sit there and go, wow, we'll be all right. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Considering how much Manchester United need Champions League football, I, for one, was hoping that they'd do more. Now, look, as Carrick said, anything can happen. Never say never. But I mean, never say never. They say that about an ex, don't they? You know, never say never. You never know what's going to happen. You're never going back to a fucking ex, are you? I don't sit here and look and go, well, we could potentially pull a madness. I just don't. And I'm not trying to be negative. It's Friday. I want to be in a good mood. I want to be in a happy mood. But I can't get myself excited for it. Anyway, key points from the press conference. So Dorgu is definitely out. It's going to be for a period of time or a few weeks, as we're saying, potentially up to 10, man. That is ridiculous. Xerxes has returned to training this week, which is positive news. Buzzing. Xerxes is back. Yes. Return of the Zerk. who, by the way, Mainoo, does not fit into this formation. Does not fit into the way that we play football. That's what we got to get excited about. De Ligt still yet to train for Manchester United with the group, is what Carrick said. Such a bizarre one. De Ligt, man, it was meant to be a small injury that was going to keep him out for the Wolves game, and we haven't seen him since. And this is a concern, because as much as the defences look good, we are still conceding goals. I feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more happier when he is at the back. So we need that guy back as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Now, Carrick emphasised that taking Fulham for granted would be bang out of order. And I love that he said that. I love that he said that, because do you know something? I've been talking about this all week to the guys at work. I actually think that this game on Sunday is going to be a lot harder than the Arsenal game and the Manchester City game. In those games, zero expectation was put on Manchester United. We were expected to turn up and lose or get a point at best. This now is where we go back to being the favourite in the tie. Now, I know from this Manchester United group, and we've seen it this season, albeit in a different formation, that these lads have failed many times at the hurdle of being the team that is the one to excite players, to excite fans, to be the one to go and pick up those points. So Manchester United this weekend, the players have a lot on their shoulders. They need to put a performance on out there. They need to carry this club further into that top four battle. Like I said to you last night, we cannot be sat here in 6-7 weeks' time going, we need to hope that fifth's okay. Now, looking at the Champions League, looking at the Europa League, looking at the Conference League, it's looking like England are going to get a lot of points in the coefficient, which means that fifth place will probably be enough to get Champions League. But look, I don't want to sit here as a Manchester United fan and be begging and praying that we get fifth. Champions League for a long... I mean, look, I'm old enough to remember, and I'll go through the chat in a second, don't worry. But I'm old enough to remember when Champions League was top two. Top two. Imagine if it's top two now. United wouldn't have been in the Champions League for ages. We'd have been twice in the last 10 years? So there are layers to this moan. There are layers to this game. So Carrick said that after United's strong results, he stressed that we need to maintain focus, play with emotion and feeling, and avoid complacency to keep building momentum in their push for a top four finish and Champions League qualification. And it's key that he said there, top four push. I love that. I love that. Let me go through some of the comments before we carry on with this. Anthony says, oi, oi, Savalai. Smash the likes up. Good to see you, Ant. Take care, mate. Take care. I hope you're well. Carl says, evening all. Carrick said in his presser that he wasn't ruling anything out over the last few days of the window. Maybe lightning will strike. Maybe Benzema will come. Maybe... Do you know what I mean? I want to get excited, Carl, but I just don't see it. Look, the worst thing that could happen, the best thing for Manchester United on the whole is Champions League qualification. So smashing Fulham, fantastic. But it's also the worst thing that could happen, because if we beat Fulham, they really are going to say, you don't need anybody. Dorgu's not there. You don't need anybody. We've managed Cunha there. You got Mount. You're fine. Just crack on with it. That's the reality of it. Samuel, good to see you, mate. He says the Glazers and Ineos should be working in a nursery. Well, I like that comment. I do like that comment. Boom, boom, boom. Mateta's left the room. Well, yeah, Mateta AC Milan, man. Mateta AC Milan. Strange transfer, that is. Good evening, Moxie. Good to see you, mate. He says, good evening, Dan, and happy Friday. I'll be there on Sunday. Can't wait for a couple of pre-match Guinnesses and a catch-up with old mates. If I can connect up, I'll do a live half-time from OT. Good lad. That's what we like to see, mate. That's what we like to see. Godwill Kakonki should be playing in the Manchester United first team, says Samuel. Look, I said this last night, and I stand by this. Now is not the time, with the lack of transfers, to be chucking all the kids into this team. It just isn't. And the reason for that being there is too much on their shoulders. When they come into the team, the class of 92, they had so many old heads around there, experienced Premier League winners. They have people there that have been there and done it. This Manchester United team doesn't have the characters there, I feel, to bring these youngsters through, to show them that they are the new breed of Manchester United, to show them what it means to be a Manchester United player. I don't trust a lot of them to do that. So what I don't want, I'm taking that off. What I don't want is a group of young players to be brought into this side to then be hung out to dry. We saw the bloody abuse that Lacey got after his red card. We saw the abuse that Fletcher got after the was it the Burnley game or was it the Leeds game? That's just football. That's just football. That's the way it goes. And I think that the kids need to be protected. Good to see you, mate. He says Friday, got to get down on Friday. Is that Friday, gotta get down on Friday. I've lived a life, I tell you. Won't be here long tonight, but had to nip in. Front three, Sesko, Bryan, Bruno, Sesko, Cunha, Bryan and Bruno at 10. Yeah, I like that. We changed Dorgu to a winger, so why not change Xerxes to a centre-back with his height? I tell you why, Carl, because he can't run. He can't run. Xerxes was the only one doing things. That's why Amrim didn't give him a run, kept scapegoating instead. That's the sabotage masterclass. Free to go down now, Dan. Free to go down. Isaac, I don't think you guys are out of the woods yet. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that right now. Guys, put your put your predictions in. Put your predictions in for the free to go down. Let's help Isaac out. Look, Burnley will go down. We know that. Wolves will go down. And then for me, I'm going to shock you here. I think it's anyone between Palace, West Ham, and Forest. I don't think Forest are out the woods here. I do not think they're out the woods, but Palace are in free fall. Palace are falling quicker than Mia Khalifa to her knees in the middle of a video. If you know, you know. They're in free fall. They've lost so many good players. Adam Wharton, man. I remember there was a conversation where Parish said, Adam Wharton will only leave this club for a Champions League club. Yeah, Mr. Parish, Adam Wharton will leave for a Premier League club, mate, because at the moment, the way Palace are going, you ain't going to be it. And also, I'm going to say this, and I've seen a lot of Palace fans turn on Glasner, actually, but I'm so glad this is happening. Not for Palace fans. I've got a lot of respect for Palace fans, and I enjoyed their FA Cup win last season, but mainly for the fact that we could have been stuck with Glasner. Glasner ain't the answer for the club. He absolutely ain't. So it's one of the three. The favourites out of the three I've spoken about, Isaac, I would say is West Ham, but I just think with Dyche in charge, anything can happen with you boys. Godwill Kakonki, I see saying the wrong name. Sounds like a Star Wars character. He's a very highly rated lad, actually. Maguire runs far more than Xerxes. Carl, Maguire runs far more than Xerxes. Xerxes, do you know something? If Xerxes put more effort in, I'd really like Xerxes because I think what he's got a great first touch, and I think he can do things. He is strong on the ball, but equally, it's just the lack of effort sometimes. When the ball bounces off him and he goes, "Oh no, I can't. I can't do that, lads. I can't. No, I can't." That's what annoys me about him. I'm going to say Wolves, Burnley, and Palace. Says Carl Lawrence. Good to see you, mate. He says Leeds, Wolves, Burnley. Tottenham won't go down. I mean, I'd love them to. Oh my days, blood! We're championship blood. I love that bloke so much. Honestly, Expressions is a guy. He's one of the main guys. Carl says, "What about Spurs? They're just as bad in the league. They'll have enough. Wolves, Burnley, and West Ham. Good evening, Ben. West Ham are the favourites out of them. City, Arsenal, Liverpool. That'd be great. Oh, Chappie, that'd be beautiful. Mia, who's that? Never heard of her. Me neither." Got to be careful with that, actually. I had to. Oh God, I'll say this quietly. We were watching Olivia Atwood, and she was doing all these. It was all about making money with porn, and I had to pretend to Mrs. Robinson I didn't know who Bonnie Blue was. I said she was a TikToker, and had to do the whole what? She's in what? Oh dear, Wahaha still riding the Xerxes bus. He's just not good enough and definitely not a United player. I agree. Isaac says, think we should be fine as long as Sangare stays fit. Our form dropped off as soon as he left for AFCON and picked up again as soon as he came back. Such a big difference maker. I'll be honest with you, Isaac. I think as a Forest fan, I think next season I think there's going to be big problems at Forest next season because I think a lot of clubs are going to, regardless of the fact Marianakis is a very shrewd businessman and won't sell anyone for anything. I think there's going to be a lot of people leave your club in the summer. Mainly for the fact with Sean Dyche in charge. No one wants to play for Sean Dyche. I agree with Wolfie on that. It was half satire and half truth. And Ben is laughing. He definitely knows. Back to Michael Carrick. He says, on the January transfer window, which is nearing its close, Carrick said the club is working through it and we never say never regarding any late moves. Though he remained calm and noted they have shown capability without additions. That is everything in a nutshell. And that is everything in a nutshell. Yeah. About transfers, that is everything in a fucking nutshell. Yeah. Never say never, but do you know something? We look good. We look good as we are. Pisses me off, man. And he highlighted the importance of emotion in performances, pride in recent results, and staying grounded while improving the team for the club's greater good. And he has done a lot of that. He has absolutely done a lot of that. Now, look, it is a big game. Make no mistake about it. 15 cup finals left for Manchester United going into the back end of this season. We are literally about to go into February. Now, again, what I will say, if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, if you'd have said to me 3 games in, we would be 4th in February, I would have laughed at you. I'd have bit your hand off. Ben, who was it that I said I would get I'd get something done if we finish 4th? I can't remember. Ben, you'll have to remind me. But it's looking a possibility at the moment. And what we can't be at the moment, and I'm concerned that I sound like it sometimes to you beautiful people. I don't want to sound greedy because, look, as I said, start of the season, if you'd have said to me with this squad, we're 4th, I'd have been incredibly happy. But I don't think it's wrong of me as a football fan, and I don't think it's wrong of you as a football fan to sit here and say we are 2 injuries away. You know, you take out Casemiro, you take out Mainoo, that midfield becomes disjointed. You take out Mainoo, we go back to having 2 sixes, and that does not help us with progression up the field. Kobbie Mainoo has been at the heart of progressing that ball up the field. The nice little triangle passes he does with Bruno, with Dorgu at the time, with Luke Shaw, with Casemiro. We need to make sure that we are prepared for anything, and anything can happen. We've still got an international break. It would just be our luck to go out of that international break with a couple of injuries. So, as much as Wahaha is correct, the league is still shit. We can certainly go for top 4 without the sabotage maestro. But as much as the league is shit, it is inconsistent chaos. And we are still very much a part of that inconsistent chaos. Yes, we haven't lost in a few games. Yes, we've won our last 2, but there are a few draws in there. Was it to get Kev tattooed on your ass? I've actually, do you know something? Disclaimer, Ben. I've actually got the word Tim on my ass. That was a drunken weekend in Magaluf. So I feel like if Ineos are serious, go out there and do something. Go out there and shock us. We are in a situation, we have been for such a long time with Manchester United, where we can honestly sit here and say, do you know something? Nothing about Manchester United shocks us anymore. Well, if they went out in the next 3 days and said, right, bang, there's a transfer, let's bring someone in decent, that would shock us. But I don't trust them. I don't trust them to do so. I really don't trust them to do so. Lawrence says glass half full. It's an opportunity for the academy, not Collier, though. Yeah, Collier's at Hull. I don't think it is an opportunity for the academy, Lawrence. I just don't think we put the stress and the strain on these young lads. I genuinely don't. You know, Kone's gone. Kone's gone to that Swiss team on loan today. That's another option, technically, if we're talking about academy, that could have done something. I mean, like, I just don't know why we let Collier go, chat. I'll be honest with you. If we weren't bringing, and in fact, let me put this as a poll. Let me put this as a poll. By the way, 94% of you are thinking win. Fantastic. I love to see that. Right. Let me put this as a poll. Who would you have rathered? I can't even spell. Would you have rathered kept? Okay, no, I'll put what would you have rathered? What would you rather? Fucking hell. What would you rather? Kept Collier on loan. Kept Collier from going on loan. Sign Ndidi. Kept Collier from going on loan or sign Ndidi. What would you have rathered? What would you rather, as United fans and rival fans, get your vote in there? What would you rather? Kept Collier on loan or brought Ndidi on? I don't think Ndidi's the guy, by the way. I think we just a waste of a transfer. Isaac says we should get good money for them, though. 90 to 100 million for Anderson and 50 to million for Morello. There are two that I believe are going, maybe Morgan Gibbs-White as well. Wolfie's absolutely stonewall convinced that there is a clause in Anderson's contract that means he goes for cheaper than 90 to 100 million. Now, whether that is true or not, look, Wolfie's got a lot of knowledge there. I don't think, and unless England do something crazy and win the World Cup, even with that though, if there's a clause, he won't go for that much. He is that type of player, though. I will say that, Isaac. I was very wrong a few months ago to say I didn't think he was. He absolutely is. I've gone through that one. Was it to get Kev tattooed on your ass? Carl's dying on that. I tell you what, Carl is dying on that bloody comment. You've made... Do you know what, right, Carl? And you know I love you, right? Okay, this heart belongs to you. I love you. But because you've got Martinez in CDM right this season, quit whilst you're ahead, my guy. Quit whilst you're ahead. You did well to get that over the line. There ain't no title charge. I know that's a winky face. There is no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Yeah, you can change the Tim to Tim the Enchanter. Yeah, that's a good one, that is. I think that was right around the same chat. Then you said you'd get Kev on it too. When I go out on the piss with Kev, I worry that something like that will happen. Moxie says, I totally agree about the injuries and possibly why Ndidi signing is being wafted around. Yeah. I don't know why we shouldn't. And I agree. I agree with how Harry isn't good enough. Neither. Okay. Salasoni said, good to see you, mate. I haven't seen you for a while. He says, good afternoon from the USA. My confidence level right now in my club is over the roof. We will not drop the ball anymore. We are going for 3 points. That is the confidence I need on a Friday night. That is the confidence. That is the confidence. Ndidi, for me, don't rate either of them, but Collier reminds me of Cleverly, always sideways and backwards passes. Do you know what my argument is? In fact, let me go through some more of these and just check what everybody else has said. No, it's okay. Right, okay. Oh, hang on. There is a comment about Collier. Hang on. Let me go. I'm starring that, Ben. I'm going to come back to that. He's nowhere near Cleverly, sadly, and I never rated Cleverly. Isaac says there were rumours about a clause in Anderson's contract, but one of the top journalists dispelled it. I think it might have been Ornstein. Fair enough. If that's the case, then that's the case. Salasoni says, I'd rather keep Collier than go for any player who once rejected us and whose career is on the verge of collapsing. We are not a retirement camp for any 28 to 30-year-old players anymore. That is exactly why. Ndidi has hamstrings that I'm telling you now would break at the sight of them. Okay, they are ridiculous. We do not want to bring a lad in who is going to be injured. Imagine we bring Ndidi in. Oh, right, Casemiro's injured. Let's get into... Oh, Ndidi's injured. He should stick himself on Indeed and find another fucking club because he's not coming to United. He's not coming to United. I'd have kept Collier. I would have, out of the two of them, I would have kept Collier. I would. I think that it makes more sense to keep Collier than bring in Ndidi and pay him wages as well. I mean, look, if I'm being blank with you, as Wahaha said, I wouldn't have either of them. And as Ben has said, I'd go out there and buy a decent midfielder. We got 60 million, apparently. The Semenyo money is there waiting to be used, apparently. Oh, dear. I can see the other three of the top four cancelling each other out and drawing with each other, and we get second. We're like Arsenal that way, but not this season. Oh, I tell you what. Lawrence, we ain't finishing. I love that. I love that, but we ain't finishing second. Oh, I get your terminology, though. I do understand your terminology because they have got a lot. Look, all three clubs ahead of us. Liverpool as well below us. Newcastle, Spurs. They have all got so much football left to play. Manchester United don't. We have 15 games. What have they got? A minimum of, I think, 17, 18 maybe. A lot of midweek games. So I can see your logic there. I can see your logic there. Buy a new one. I love that, Akko, and that is exactly what we should do. Carl says, if we beat Fulham and Spurs and Arsenal lose to Leeds and Sunderland, it's 6-point gap. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that, Carl. Don't do that. Don't listen. Look at me. Look at my blue eyes. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't give me hope. Have you ever seen The Avengers when Hawkeye, they find him pissing down with rain? He's just killed a loads of samurais, whatever it was. Triads. And he's like, don't give me hope. Carl, don't give me hope. Look, if Manchester United, if Manchester United won the league, which I don't think for 1 second we're going to be anywhere near winning the league, I'm telling you now, if they did that, Mrs. Robinson wouldn't like this, but I'd be going to Vegas to celebrate. I would be saying to Mrs. Robinson, pack up your shit. We're going to Vegas. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Yearly Arsenal collapse just around the corner, honestly. And do you know something? Potsy, I love Potts. Go check out Football's 12th Man. Potts is honestly one of the best. He's one of the best out there. But when he said to us on the 12th Man chat, shame on the other 19 clubs for this league being a dusty league. No. You don't get to say that, Potts. Arsenal fans, you do not get to fucking say that. You do not get to chat that to us. If this league was so dusty, why aren't you 15 points ahead? Yeah? Why aren't you a minimum of 12 points ahead? It ain't dusty. You're just not... I don't know if it's the Arsenal players have just... Maybe arrogance has led them to think, well, everyone else is losing. We'll be all right. Just keep doing. I don't like those comments. Like, shame on us. Shame on you guys for not running away with this league. Leicester, oh, God, yeah, Leicester winning the league. Yeah, we're not doing that. Give me hope. Salasoni says, I'd also rather give James from our under-18s 5 to 6 minutes of every game than Ndidi. Yeah. I don't want to start these youth players, but look, there's so many more things we could do than having Ndidi. I'd rather get caught on my phone watching Rebecca Goodwin, if you know, you know, by Mrs. Robinson than signed in Ndidi. I'm scraping the barrel with that one. I'll be honest with you. If you know who she is, then I'd be very surprised. And if you do know who she is, then I've got some very dirty people in the chat. Ben says, next few games is a great chance to cement that top four and pull away from the chasing pack. That is what it should be about. Think catching Villa, City and Arsenal might be a step too far. Look, if Michael Carrick won the league with this bloody group of players, then they would have to build a statue of him. They would have to. They'd have to put him right next to Law, Charlton and Best, because Jesus Christ, would he need a statue for that? That's not happening. All Manchester United need to focus on, is top four. I'm throwing scissors back here. Top four is all we need, okay? I'm not here to talk about Premier Leagues. We ain't there. We just ain't there. In an ideal world, we would be there, and we'd be sat here going, now we take advantage of having no football midweek and we go on and win the league, but we're not there yet. We're not there. 2 games do not change a season. They make it look a lot better. On paper, they make it look a lot prettier. It makes us go out and go, hey, hang on a minute. Yeah, don't forget about us, but it doesn't change it. Red Devil Radar, good to see you, mate. He says hello. Hello to you, my friend. Akko says they cannot score from open play. Shame on them too. Honestly, Arsenal fans galore, man. Arsenal fans galore, like Igal. If any of you have seen Igal, look, he seems a really nice guy. He seems a really nice guy, a genuinely lovely guy. But I put him in the same bracket as Ty. Listening to them talk about Arsenal like they're this fucking club that have been there and won the lot. They haven't. They haven't. And this is what annoys me. Like, if I was an Arsenal fan and these results had happened to me in the last 3 games, I would be sat there going, shit, here we go again. So bad, man. So bad. Dirty people. We United fans from the USA know that Arsenal is always an accident waiting to happen every season. The only thing we don't always guess is at what time. It's like that analogy, isn't it? Elephant on the top of the tree. You don't know how the fuck they got there, but you know one thing's for certain. Gravity will always bring them down, and that's the same with Arsenal in the league. Carl, my heart does, but my head doesn't. Arteta wants that Benfica. Yeah. Ben, that is the comment, and that is the comment of the night, man. That is the comment of the night. You could just picture Arteta going, we need to sign that keeper. He gets us another 5 goals a season. Igal isn't a nice guy. Don't fall for that. He's a fraud and a liar. I only go off what I know of people. I've not seen any of that, so I can't comment on that. But I take your point. Wahaha. I take your point. Look, let's get. I'll tell you what, we need to get rid of that. Let's share the screen. Let's share the screen and let's look at this squad. Do you believe in love after love? Right. This was the team. Let me just zoom in a bit for you. Let me zoom it in. That was the team that faced Arsenal. Feels like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it? Le Mans, Dalot, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Mainoo, Ahmad, Bruno Fernandes, Dorgu, and Bryan. I saw that. I saw that, Wahaha, and I'm not going to get involved in that argument because do you know something? They all say a lot about each other. They all say a lot about each other that they do. That's one thing I don't get involved in, but I saw that. I saw that. So let's clear the team. Let's clear it. Let's clear that lineup. Now, first, and I feel like we do this every week, but we don't need to even consider changing that. We don't need to. We don't need to do that. We don't talk anymore. But the interesting question is, right back. There is a certain Mazza back. Mazza is back in the hizzle, and he has played a few minutes for Manchester United being there, Carl. Ben says, Ben, go home, you're drunk. What are we saying, chat? What are we saying? Wow. Carroll doesn't play for the club anymore. These two, the other two I can take. Are we saying we stick with Dalot, who I'm going to say this, bar a frantic 20 minutes against City, has looked a lot better in the last 2 games? Are we willing to drop Dalot for Mazraoui? Or are we willing to keep Dalot in that right-back position? Carl straight away says, I put Mazza right back and Bryan out wide and Sesko up front. Other than that, I wouldn't change anything else. Okay. What are we saying, chat? Are we saying right back, stick as we are, or are we putting Mazza in there? I'm going to shock you all. Interesting story, Wahaha. The linesman who gave that, who said it wasn't a goal for Pedro Mendes is from my hometown, Shrewsbury. Interesting fact. Taibbi, honestly, get in the bin. What are we saying? Are we saying? I'm going to surprise you all. Okay, I'm going to surprise you all by saying I don't think Dalot needs to come out of the team. I actually want to keep Dalot in the squad, in the team, in the 11. Any more takers for Mazraoui and Dalot? Because for me, let me go out of that a second. I don't think he put a foot wrong against Arsenal. I think he was very good against Arsenal, and I think he deserves to retain that position. Now, Carl, I agree with you. I think Mazraoui, long term for the rest of the season, will probably end up being the starting right back. But at the moment, I think Dalot's done enough in the last 2 games to warrant him staying there. And you know, and Wahaha, as I said, I agree with you, brother. I think for the first 20 minutes against City, he was awful. I think he then shored up. I think he was disciplined. I thought he was very, very, very good. Thinking about it, Dalot and Ahmad do seem to have a good understanding. I agree with that. And Barden, that was a horrific challenge. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think we even need to talk about this because the defense. The defense picks itself at the moment on merit. I think that defense is where we're looking at. I don't think we need to change that defense up. I genuinely don't think we do. And I also don't think we need to even have a conversation about these 2 boys. Because in the words of L.A. Knight, let me talk to you. Since Mainoo has come back into this team, He has shown us everything that is missing in that midfield. I actually think Casemiro's looked a lot more comfortable with that lad playing with him, playing alongside him. That was nearly wrong. I think Casemiro says to him, off you go, sunshine. You do the progression. I am going to sit here. If anything gets past, I will stop it. You go up there. And Casemiro does get up there, and you see him, Uncle Casemiro, when he's outside the area. You look at him, he gets that flash in his eyes. But I think that midfield too, it just solves everything for Manchester United for the rest of the season, which is why it's so important that we keep these boys fit. But I think at the moment, that there doesn't need to change. Steve-O, good to see you. Steve in that house. I hope you're well, my friend. Good to see you, United. He says, Dorgu, even he is injured, I want him in the game. I'd love him in the game. That's just how well he's done. Under Amorim, Dorgu was underachieving, so give him a chance. Dallo, yeah, Chappie, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that. What are we saying here? Red Devil says Liverpool is our main rivals, but some of those annoying Arsenal fans irritate me so much that I want to see them lose more than even Liverpool. I got to a point where Potsy was, obviously very happy with Arsenal. It was at that moment, and Potts is, like I said, Potts is a gem. I fucking adore him. But when he was like, "Hey, shame on you guys for this Dusty League," that really, I watched it back, and I should have reacted on the video. I should have reacted on the stream. But I thought that's such a weird thing to say, considering you guys should have run away with this league by now. Arsenal, this is Arsenal's best opportunity to ever win a Premier League. Arsenal will never, ever get a chance like this again. Ever. They won't. Cam, you're right there. Wahaha, thank you for reminding me. Bruno starts there, we know that. But this is where it gets interesting. I think the same front four, but Mount for Dorgu. Interesting, Ben. Cunha has been too good off the bench, and we need a game changer to come on if required. Ooh. That is a comment that's took me by surprise. United, good to see you too, mate. And no, I'm the one late tonight. Don't you apologise. I'm the one that's late tonight. I was still happy with Shaw. No one thinks he needs a rest. Nah, I don't think he needs a rest. Steve-O, he's playing one game a week. It's World Cup season. That guy will run and run and run and run and run and run and run. That guy will set the bleep records this season. AFC, do you know something? I'm glad you've come in, mate. I was hoping you would, because I wanted to hear it from an Arsenal perspective. We should have run away with it. Having said that, I've heard what you just said for the last 3 seasons. Yeah, look, AFC, I'll ask you this. And I asked Potts this. If Arsenal don't win the league, and actually I'll ask the chat this whilst we're talking about Arsenal quickly. If they do not win the league, does Arteta have to go? Or does Arteta and about 5 or 6 of those players have to go? Is it just solely on the manager? Because they've got a good group of players there, but they can't seem to find consistency with the front three. Saka's not scored in how many games? Martinelli's not scored in how many games? Gyökeres hasn't scored a non-penalty goal in how many games? Havertz is on the way back. I mean, Arsenal fans I hearing are already putting their faith in him again. So I'm going to ask AFC. Thank you for the comment, and make sure you come back to me, mate. It's either Bryan or Mount left side. Ahmad, Ben, Bryan, something new to confuse Silva. Carl says I'd have Sesko as Fulham ain't going to come and play a high line, so we're going to have to get more of the ball, and we need him to link up. And they do not win the league. I love that. He's a moron. I think a lot of Arsenal fans say that. I think it will be this. By the way, I do think it will be this. I think the time has come for Michael Carrick to unleash him. I've got a feeling. No, what am I talking about? I'm lying to you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think it will be this. I don't think he's unleashing him. Sorry. I think we will see the front of them, and I think, as much as I agree with what Ben's saying, I think he will go with that front three against Fulham. Now, what I will say is I actually agree with Carl. I think Sesko makes far more sense playing against Fulham. I think having Bryan and Ahmad either wing, I think helps us. I think their creativity helps us, and I also agree. I also agree with what Ben said. Cunha has been brilliant off the bench, and he has been able to change games coming off the bench. We bought him as a starter. He's not going to be able to stay on the bench for long, but I just kind of feel like I would have gone Sesko, Bryan, and Ahmad. That's what I'd have gone. I think it also depends if they win anything else. If they finish second but win Champions League, he stays. Facts. United says I want Arsenal win rather than City, but if they somehow bottle this campaign again, then I want City to win just because I don't want Liverpool to win at anything. I don't want them to win at anything. AFC says I'd sack him, but I don't think the board will. When it comes to players like Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, definitely need moving on. I was with LB earlier on in the week, and LB made a great comment about Arsenal. He said, why would they sack him? And I said, you what? And he said, why would Arsenal sack Wenger? And I said, I don't know what you mean by that, mate. He said, look at it this way. With Arsenal, they know they've got a manager that guarantees them top four every season. They're in the Champions League every season. They're getting the revenue from that. They know that's guaranteed. And when he said that, I thought, I wonder if that's the case. We need to be careful with Bruno after his injury, so could possibly see Cam. I don't know if you saw Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick midweek was very complimentary about Mason Mount. So they got a lot of respect for him as a player, and that he saw him having a big impact for Manchester United. Isn't it crazy in these two games how two players that we've seen quite a bit of this season just seem to have been pushed right to the back of the line? Sesko, back of the line, because Bryan's done so well, and Mason Mount, back of the line. I would argue with anybody on this chat and say that I think Mason Mount pre-Christmas was one of our better players. I saw a lot from Mason Mount that reminded me of somewhat what the old Mason Mount was like. Good on the ball, had a finish in him. The tenacity and the shithousery of getting under players' skins. I love that about him, but I think he's just going to fade away into obscurity. Mason Mount, for me, is someone I think will leave in the summer now. I think he will leave in the summer because Bruno ain't going anywhere, and he can't play on the left. We've got too many players. I think Mason Mount could potentially go in the summer. I do. Absolutely do. Yeah, there we go. FC agrees. Wenger's team played sexy football. Can't describe Arteta's own goal football. Wenger's towards the end wasn't sexy. Early on, there was some good football. Towards the end, he tried too much just to be that ultimate. I mean, he wanted to bring in all the young English stars, didn't he? He said he wanted to build a team capable of winning England a World Cup, and it just went wrong. Carl says, I think Bryan for Sesko was just tactical reasons and the way Carrick wanted to play in them two games. Carl, you could be right. And look, I think this manager in the last two games has got enough grace from all of us now that if on Sunday he picks a side and we go, I think we have to back what he's doing and trust what he's doing. United says Carrick brings new energy. Now we need to stay calm and focused on other games and finish our job to the end of the season. And that's the Champions League spot. Look, that is absolutely, and also, wahaha, great comment. That is absolutely the case. Let's end it with this poll. By the way, 85% of you have said you would have rather kept Collier. Right now, chat, the question's simple. Right now, I'm putting it in capitals. Are we getting Champions League football? Yes or no? Right now, are we getting Champions League football? My vote, if I could do so, would be a big fat yes. I think we will. I think Champions League football is Manchester United's, at this stage, to lose. It is Manchester United's position to lose. With the football that's coming up, we need to get past Fulham. Then we've got Spurs. Then we've got West Ham. And then we've got Everton. If we could do the unthinkable and win 3 out of those 4, if we could go unbeaten but pick up 3 wins in that, I think Manchester United would be in a very solid position to go on and get Champions League. I honestly think we will. I think we will. In fact, do you know something? At the start of the season, I was begging and craving for European football. I didn't care how it looked like. Now I actually would go as far to say, if Manchester United don't get Champions League football, I think it's a massive mistake and a massive L. And I think you would have to put blame on Ineos and Wilcox and Barada. I haven't heard Wilcox come out once in the last couple of weeks saying trust the fucking process. He's gone very quiet with the transfer window being open. Gone very, very quiet. Very quiet. And that annoys me. That absolutely annoys me. I'm going to get rid of that team. There we go. There we go. So I'm back. We need Champions League, not Conference or Europa. UCL, yeah, we absolutely do. Manchester United need the money. They need the money. And also, Champions League attracts better players to Manchester United. And in the current format that Champions League is, people say we'd be absolutely binned off in that. I disagree. If Spurs can finish fourth in the Champions League standings, considering how bad they've been this season, we can absolutely do that. You'll get Champions League if you continue as you did against us and City. Thank you, AFC. I agree with that. Now it's between us and Chelsea about that Champions League spot. Who have Chelsea got this weekend? Chat, who have Chelsea got? Let me see if you know before I put it in. I have a look. Let me know. Oh, fucking hell. Vitek's not having a good night at Bristol. Conceded 4 goals. Chelsea have West Ham at home. Ugh. In the words of Jamie Tart, that's poopy. That's poopy. I'm going to say something, chat. I'm going to say something here. Don't be surprised if West Ham get a draw there. Don't get surprised if he doesn't go there and get if West Ham don't go there and get a point, because Rosenior at the moment, the jury is not sold on him. We'd be close to the top if the fraud got sacked sooner. Absolutely agree. West Ham, there we go. I'm surprised he hasn't piped up about us after us beating City and Arsenal, saying he made the right call getting rid of Ruben. I'm surprised at that as well. I'm stunned we haven't had the Wilcox interview. Do you remember when Rikishi, in the storyline for wrestling, run over Stone Cold and he was like, I did it for The Rock. I did it for The Rock. I'm amazed Wilcox hasn't come out and said, I did it for the fans. Load of bollocks. That guy can stay in the fucking bin. That guy can stay in the fucking bin. Wenger was there for 22 years. You're judging him on his last few years. No, I'm not. I promise you. I'm not judging him on that, Steve. Look, Arsene Wenger, for me, is goated in the Premier League as a manager. I think what he did, he revolutionised the Premier League. In a period where Manchester United were really starting to turn the screw and go on and dominate, he absolutely threw the cat amongst the pigeons. The nutrition side of it, the Premier League wouldn't be the league it is without Arsene Wenger. I've got nothing but respect for him. Nothing but respect. Queen Sophie in the hizzle, she says, just keep that spot warm for us in the league. Oh, God. Soph, what are you saying against Liverpool this weekend? Are you confident? I think you can take a point there. Which would be a great result for us if we beat Fulham. It's hammer time, that time in the season. United says, I'm going to be the biggest iron this week. Come on, you irons. Yeah, I agree. Smash the likes up, as she says, completely right. Rumour has it Arsene still can't find his pockets. Do you remember when he got sent off against us? And he got sent off against us. He's like, I ain't walking all the way down that fucking tunnel. I'll go and stand up there. Just leave me be. Leave me be. Even we are United supporters, we need to, yeah. Arsene Wenger, nothing but respect. And 2-1 Liverpool, in all honesty, says Soph. Oh. Queen Sophie, you've just made me sick. You have just made me vomit. Look at my eyes. That's disgraceful. No, we're not doing that. Ugh. That I can get on with. I can't see this Liverpool team deal with Newcastle's physicality. The problem is, though, Newcastle away from home have been absolute pony. Fulham are doing well. We can't. And I won't disrespect them and say we're going to smash them. But no, I think we beat them. I think we beat them. Yeah, and it was still on top of the tunnel. 8-0, imagine. Unless Gordon does something dumb again and just signed Oscar Bob. Look, I tell you what. Let's, by the way, Mainoo, 83% of you have said we will get Champions League football. I love that. Now I'm going to finish it on simple chat. Give me your score predictions. What are your score predictions against Fulham this weekend? Obviously, Wilson's in form. Jimenez is in form. They've just signed Oscar Bob, as Queen Sophie's quite rightly said. Leno always seems to have a decent game against United. With that in mind, I'm here to tell you now, I think we beat them, and I think we beat them 3-1. I think we beat them 3-1. I think we concede, but I think we beat them 3-1. 11-0. I like how United says 11-0, but we need the clean sheet. Nothing about the 11. I fucking love that. 2-1 United says Steve-O. 3-1 says Ben. I like it the way you do the talk there. Yeah, I think we beat them 3-1. Do you know what I'm looking forward to? Is that pace merchant not coming off the fucking bench, Traore. I'm really glad because he always makes me nervous, Traore, when he comes up. I'm saying that we got West Ham in a couple of weeks, haven't we? No, I was kidding. Maybe 3. No, I know. Don't worry. 4-0 Newcastle. Wahaha's gone. Jesus Christ, 4-0 Leeds. I see what you're doing there, Wahaha. You're thinking of the teams ahead of us. You're thinking about the teams in and around us, guys. Oh, Salasone says, I'll predict 3-1 in favour of Mighty United. Love that. Love where the energy is. Look, it's Friday night. It is 9:45, is it? 10. It's 5 to 10. It's 10 to 10. It's cowboy time. 10 to 10, 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 10 to 10. Old one. 2-1, Chappie says. Leach are always bullied. Adama, I know. That was beautiful, wasn't it? And this is the one game I never back us in. Yeah, I remember the classic Kevin Keegan hung over the bloody board after Collymore scored the winner. Was it McManaman? I think it was Collymore. Anyway, guys, it's Friday night. Go and enjoy the rest of your Fridays. We will see you Sunday. Pleasure, as always, to speak to each and every one of you. Love and adore you. You're all incredible. Maguire will bundle Troy like he did Gabrielle the Bully. Howe's broken longer streaks. Correct. Enjoy your evening. Dan United, Kev United, who's having a night off. We out of here. But more importantly, Bryan Brigade, we need you Sunday.